For Black History Month, we are highlighting people who are making history right now. We are celebrating the pioneers in our community with our series, Living Black History. And today, a man who has dedicated his life to ending judicial inequality and America's insidious connection between race and poverty. I'm talking about Bryan Stevenson. He is the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative. The EJI's mission is to change America's problem with over-incarceration and stop inequality in the justice system. His best-selling book, Just Mercy, was turned into a movie starring Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. It tells the story of Stevenson's life and work, including the effort to free an Alabama man sentenced to death for a murder he did not commit. Let me just give you a small sample of why Stevenson's work is so important. According to Equal Justice Initiative, the U.S. only makes up 5% of the world's population, but it has nearly 25% of the world's incarcerated population. In 1972, America had 200,000 people imprisoned. Now we have at least 2.2 million incarcerated people in this country. The number of women who are incarcerated is skyrocketing. From 1980 to 2017, the number grew by 750%. Now, the Pew Research Center found very little evidence that severe prison sentences lower crime. But there's plenty of evidence that it raises poverty rates. And right now in America, our criminal justice system treats you better if you were rich and guilty than if you were poor and innocent. I was very thrilled to be able to talk to Bryan Stevenson, the man who is making great strides towards, ending that inequality. And I started by asking him what made him choose this as his life's work. Take a listen.
I'm a product of Brown versus Board of Education. I grew up in a community where Black children could not attend the public schools. There were no high schools for Black kids when my dad was a teenager. In my community, most of the adults hadn't gone to high school because of racial discrimination. But these lawyers had the power to force that community to do something that opened up those doors. And because of that, I got to go to high school and college and law school. And when I came out of law school, it was clear to me that the community that was most vulnerable, most marginalized in this country were those hundreds of thousands of people you detailed that were being put into jails and prisons. The politics of fear and anger were swallowing up whole communities where people were being demonized, who were drug addicted and drug dependent. We were calling them criminals and saying it was a crime problem when we should have been saying it was a health problem. And at the top of that list were the people on death row who were literally dying for legal assistance. And so I just felt called, the way the lawyers that came into my community when I was a little boy to open up those public schools felt called, to respond to this injustice, to respond to this inequality. And it's been challenging, but it's also been a great privilege to stand with the condemned, the incarcerated, the wrongly convicted, and the unfairly sentenced in this country. For every 8 people we have executed in the United States, we've now identified one innocent person on death row who's been exonerated. It's a shameful error rate that we wouldn't tolerate in most areas. If 1 out of 8 apples had a toxin on it that if you touched it would cause you to die, we would stop selling apples. But we continue to tolerate a death penalty, a system of capital punishment that makes all of these tragic mistakes and yet still continues to kill people. And it's one of the many reasons why I feel so called to stand with the condemned, to fight against these states that continue to engage in this misguided logic that killing people is the way you show that killing is wrong. I don't believe in that.
It strikes me, sir, that we are having this conversation at a time where there are literal attacks all over this country on teaching the history.
We cannot move forward as a nation if we're unwilling to be honest about who we are. It's just like in healthcare. You may not want a diagnosis that you have diabetes or high blood pressure or some cancer diagnosis. But if you act like, if you just ban people from saying those words, you're not going to get well. You're going to get sick. You're going to die. We have to have the courage to face the truth. And the truth is that we are, a lot of things are great about this country, but there are a lot of things that are tragic. We are a post-genocide society that has not acknowledged how when Europeans came to this continent, millions of indigenous people were killed through famine and war and disease. We have a legacy of slavery in America that we have to understand, because the great evil of slavery wasn't the involuntary servitude and the brutality of the violence. That was horrific. But the real evil was the narrative that was created to justify enslavement, because white enslavers didn't want to feel immoral. So many of them made up this false narrative that Black people aren't as good as white people, that Black people aren't fully human, aren't fully evolved.
There are people that wonder, is it even possible to create a more just society?
I think it is, because we have overcome the kind of chattel slavery that doomed many of our foreparents. My great-grandfather learned to read in Virginia as an enslaved person when it was against the law for a Black person to be taught to read. And so we've seen that. We lived through this horrific era of terror violence where mobs were pulling Black people out of jails and prisons and lynching them on courthouse lawns, and we have fought. I grew up in an era where you could see the iconography of segregation, those signs that said white and colored, and courageous people fought against that, and those signs have come down. But we are still burdened with this presumption of dangerousness and guilt. There are still these pollutants in the air that have been created by this history, and that's why we have to understand the history and reckon with it. And I am inspired by what I've seen in other places in the world. If you go to Berlin, Germany, the Holocaust Memorial sits in the center of that city, and cab drivers and hotel operators encourage everybody to go to that space. And it's been transformed. There are no Adolf Hitler statues in Berlin. There are no monuments to the perpetrators of the Holocaust. In Germany, if you said in Germany, oh, we can't teach our children about the Holocaust, it might cause them to feel uncomfortable or shame. That would be a rejected idea. And that society has made progress as a result of their willingness to engage in truth-telling. And all we're trying to do is facilitate the truth-telling, because I really do believe that truth is what makes you free. Truth is what empowers you. Truth is what strengthens you.
Thank you, Bryan Stevenson, for your work. You are a modern-day freedom fighter and truly living Black history. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
For more of my conversation with Bryan Stevenson, make sure you tune in to my show on Peacock on Monday. Tomorrow, we will have the full interview.